Hi, my name is Alicia M Morgan, and I am here today to talk to you about how to understand your risk attitude on a team. Some background about me. I am an aerospace and industrial engineer. I've worked in aviation and defense. I have executive leadership experience in the nonprofit sector, supporting STEM education, career and workforce readiness initiatives, as well as after-school programs. I am also excited to say that I am PMP and Agile Metrics certified. Stakeholder engagement is very important when we are talking about understanding risk attitudes. This quote by Christine Lagarde says it best. All stakeholders must participate in the gains and losses of any particular situation. So understanding who your key stakeholders are and getting their buy-in is so important to understand these gains and potential losses. Now, understanding risks, there are three overlapping things to consider. Your risk tolerance, the risks you are willing to take, your risk capacity, the risks you can afford to take, and your risk appetite, the risks you need to take. That's right, there are certain risks you need to take to remain competitive, to become a market leader or thought leader. There's some risks you need to take. So we must recognize risk attitudes, respect other perspectives, meaning that everyone may have a different risk attitude on a team, and it's subject to change based on the day, the environment, or the particular project, or trust in the leader or other team members. So keep that in mind, that risk attitudes are subject to change, including your own, and remove barriers and roadblocks. So as a leader of a team, you are always asking, how can you help with the day-to-day tactical, right? Can you get the team more resources? Are there more partnerships and collaboration that needs to happen internal in the organization and as well as outside the organization? And understanding the blind spots that you may have, the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns, all those things come into play, as well as how do you reward people for understanding and executing risks? It takes a lot of courage to bring up a potential risk, because you may fear that you are perceived as a negative person, that you're not a team player, that you don't want to collaborate. And so all those things come into mind. So ensuring that there's psychological safety, as well as recognizing people individually and as a team when a risk has been mitigated. Now, there are 4 risk attitudes we're going to talk about today, but we're going to introduce what they are first. They're risk averse, risk tolerant, risk neutral, and risk seeking. A risk averse person naturally wants to feel safe, and they may understand that, well, playing it safe doesn't have a big reward and has a lower return. But their fear is that they may lose more and there are negative outcomes by pursuing something. Now, they have valid concerns and questions. So if you're trying to understand someone's risk attitude, if they're risk averse, the questions they may ask, well, what's the worst case scenario? And how can we prevent them? Remember, playing it safe. And how can we reduce the uncertainty? And if things are variable, how can you reduce that? Remember, risk is not the same as uncertainty. Remember, a risk is something that you may know is clear and imminent, that it may happen because of some external circumstances, or there may be some policies in place that you're aware of. And uncertainty is like, it's just uncertain. I don't know how to plan for it. So you have no general idea what's going to potentially happen. And then the contingency plans, where you have your plan B, your backup plan, your alternative, the next best alternative to what to do. and how you will handle those unexpected issues and changes. A risk tolerant person, they say, okay, we can take this risk, but how can we be prepared for this uncertainty? And how can we optimize performance? A key thing to think about in risk management is that you want to make sure that you are effective. Effectiveness matters more than efficiency, because we can be efficient, on time, deliver, but we may be delivering the wrong product. Or we may be on time, but we miss some critical steps. And so process improvement, process documentation, all those things matter, because we want to know what we can gain, how we can maximize that gain, and what are the trade-offs, the cost, the time, the scope, the quality in the projects, right? You're monitoring, controlling what happens if we are in a waterfall environment or you're in an agile environment. We remember you want to deliver things of quality, and what are our quality controls in place? And what are the key indicators that you need to monitor and respond to? So are we tracking things? And are those things automated to make sure that we can reduce the amount of errors that could occur? Now, a risk neutral person wanted to make things based on the expected value and return on investment, regardless of the risks or uncertainty that's involved. They want the quantitative measures, the methods for measuring things, right? Where's the data? Remember, where we're doing dashboards, live information and data that's occurring from our systems, and the probabilities and impacts. We want to give it a risk level, the threat level, et cetera, whether we use red, green, yellow, whatever indicators that we have, and calculating that net to present value and making sure that our assumptions, what was our before and what's actually happening, we're tracking that and adjusting our metrics as they occur and reporting it out. Now, a risk-seeking person may appear very adventurous and innovative. Let's go. Let's just try it out. If it doesn't work, let's do it incremental, and we deliver it early. We can do prototypes, whatever it is, because there's a lot of rewards, and we want to make sure that we're ahead of the competition and not left behind. We want to increase the risk and reward ratio. And what are the lessons learned? We want to capture that, move on, refer to it. And so they're very comfortable with being a visionary. Some key takeaways and action steps. So recognize diversity in risk attitudes. So by recognizing the roles of emotions, biases, and individual differences, individuals and organizations can adopt a more mature risk culture for risk management and understanding individual risk attitudes. And remember, those questions can give you some insight of potentially how you can shift someone's risk attitude or better understand it, so we won't always be frustrated with each other. And another thing to consider in terms of communication, and we may think someone's just too risk averse and risk avoidant, is that they may be a direct and indirect communication challenge across generations, cultures, et cetera. So keep that in mind as you are understanding someone's risk attitude, that they can be moved to change as we understand each other better. And remember, your own risk attitude is always subject to change. So balance the risk and reward. So if someone brings up risk, you don't always penalize them in their performance reviews for all of that, because if they have valid concerns, and you can work through it. And the reward, remember, calling out the team like, hey, we saved a day, we saved this cost, we were ahead of schedule, we saved time, we are more effective than ever, and foster shared accountability. So we're in this together, right? As we uncover things and come up with our plans and understanding each other better, and promote that open communication and collaboration, because as always, psychological safety is important, and every stakeholder, as we learned earlier in that quote, is involved in the gain and losses of any particular situation. Now, I hope that you are very aware and have some more insights on how to understand your risk attitude on a team. So if you like this content, please like, subscribe to AMMorgan, share it, leave a comment on something that you've learned, a key takeaway, or any other further insight you have on risk attitudes. And in the comment section, the description section, I will also leave a quick note on a book about understanding risk attitudes that I have written in a the Project Management World Journal. I'm going to update that you can find that insight. So all those things, so excited that you decided to join me today, and we have a better understanding of each other's risk attitudes. And then a light note, I am an engineer, so I want the data sometimes, so I can appear to be a little bit risk averse, but not necessarily, because again, we always subject to change. And because I've worked in so many industries, I have become much more risk tolerant and risk seeking sometimes when I want to be more creative and innovative. So remember, all things are subject to change based on the situation and circumstance. I wish you the very best and see you next time.